We've seen unprecedented levels of carbon dioxide pumped into our atmosphere, and this has resulted in anthropogenic warming that is now affecting our climate system.
It's difficult to grasp the fact that something like this is happening to our world, and people are going to be feeling these repercussions, I guess, forever if we don't do something about it.
I just think it's an unfortunate situation that it takes a hurricane or, $4 gas to make people start caring about climate change.
But we have to understand that there will be a cost that comes with climate change. And I think that might be the only bit of understanding that our citizens need to accept.
When you learn about climate change for the first time, you feel overwhelmed by all of the issues and the burden on our generation.
There are billions of people in these developing countries that are going to be affected by climate-related disasters.
The world as a whole needs to stop thinking about what sacrifices they might be willing to make for climate change, and instead really focus on what their share of the problem is and just how they address it.
I think that there's a lot of fear to abandon current systems because we don't know what an alternative might look like.
It's going to take a lot of change in how we use energy and how important energy is. And I think that's going to take a big cultural shift before we can get there.
We can't keep consuming in the way that we are. We don't need all that we have. In fact, we'd probably be happier with less.
Right now we're on this trajectory of increasing globalization and market integration as the way to raise the poor. But I really hope that we can have the confidence to think beyond that and think about other alternatives.
There is a heightened public consciousness of the issue, and it's being played out in Europe and Asia right now.
We need to help other countries not make the same mistakes we did. That might mean sharing technology. That might mean, helping them develop some sort of power source that isn't fossil fuels.
You have to look at the new jobs that are going to be created by these new technologies and these new implementations.
We're the ones who are going to have to be in these positions of leadership at these multiple scales, working together to find ways to address it.
And we're not able to hold back the rest of the world anymore because we're not the bulk of the pollution anymore. We're not the bulk of the influence in the world.
I think it's up to us to be very bold at Copenhagen.
Our culture has come up in this past few generations to be a culture of consumption, and a very linear one at that. Consumption's okay if you can do it cyclically, and if what you end up using can be used to create something else or be used somewhere else. But the consumption that we have now ends up in landfills.
They now have developed a very clear connection between CO2 levels and warming. There's no reason to not act now.
We also need individual people to recognize the importance of their personal lifestyle choices and changes they can make.
The things that we're debating right now aren't just tax burdens, they're actual solutions to the problem.
We need the voices from developing countries, we need the voices from the developing world to be able to find mutually acceptable and positive ways to address this.
College students definitely do care about these issues, and it's a huge topic on campuses.
We can impact change, we care about these things, and here are concrete ways that we can work to address them.
It's going to be very promising. I think our generation is the most well-equipped to do it.
We're ready to step up and address these issues.
We don't really have a choice, even if we're not ready.
We have to be optimistic. If we are pessimistic and think that it's just doom and gloom and there's nothing we can do about it, there's no reason to try.
But now's the time. It's now or never. So.